The story which is developing or which is on the news, it's an internal human resource matter, which unfortunately I'm very disappointed in Ms. Baloyi, because what she has captured in her court papers are not true, or it's not what actually happened. And as well, I'm very disappointed that, she was one of the very senior officials in the department, in the Public Protector Office. All the investigations actually, because the delegations which I gave to her were that she will focus on all the operations which supports investigations and the reports which I sign. So the way she has captured the information and the way she's now playing in this narrative or public space is very disappointing. And again, she has her contract, the one which she signed when she joined the institution, has some clauses of confidentiality. Okay. What she has done as well is very disappointing, because the caliber of a person which and the level which she was occupying should have read her contract, because those confidentiality clauses have been violated. And the way she was so senior, she said in the leadership meetings, leadership is where the PP, the Deputy Public Protector, the COO, the CEO, the CFO. I'm summarizing now. Okay. The CEO, Chief Executive Officer, the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, the DPP, Deputy Public Protector, the Public Protector, and the Chief of Staff. So she was sitting in those meetings. Exactly, and when we discuss as well, in fact, she was also sitting with dashboard meetings. Dashboard, that's where we deal with the investigations. Okay. And in that meeting, also she should have raised those concerns. The ones she's raising here. So, but now you can see that is somebody who's aggrieved. And I'm so disappointed, because the CEO is the administrative head. That is very clear, is provided for in the Public Protector Act. And the CEO was responsible for managing her administrative performance. Your performance agreement, your leave, how you perform, whether we need to confirm your probation or not. But again, remember, as the executive and as the person who signs these reports and our performance, at the end of the day, the buck stops with me. Yes. Therefore, I will have to go back to the CEO and say, I'm not happy with the targets. They are not met. There is no tool which is there to monitor performance. We are always shifting our goalposts. You can't behave like this because I'm signing with the CEO, and if the CEO is not performing, he will have to also deal with the COO, because the COO signs with the CEO the performance agreement. So her court papers, I would say they are vindictive, and I didn't want to deal with each and every argument in those papers, because surely we'll deal with the matter, we'll oppose the matter. And it's so interesting. Why take a labor matter to the High Court? Why not take it to the CCMA, take it to the Labor Court, yes, and then let's discuss there. And again, she was given an opportunity, because the CEO informed her about the decision of not confirming the probation, because the probation is not only about performance, your character as a person, the way you are taking responsibility, discipline, what changes have you brought to the institution. So if I'm not happy as the executive of the institution, then it's a challenge. But then again, it reflects the kind of person she was, and it means she, instead of building the institution, she was also believing all these narratives which are there and which are not true. Yes. So it's not a purging and it's not a dismissal. It's like any other employment contract. If you don't perform according to the expectations of the employer, definitely that won't be confirmed. I mean, and it's even disappointing because she left Department of Communication. Also, she was saying the Minister of Communications, Stella Nabeni Abrams, didn't want to employ, renew her contract. It's very interesting why, but then I was not focused on that. I was interested in having this person who has a lot of HR background and labor law related experience to come and also assist the operations, because our work is also based on the operations.
Yes.
It's one, and again, being an institution where we say we need to do prompt investigation, we're investigating undue delay.
Yes.
Therefore, to have that person at that level to make sure that our executives, our investigators, they meet their targets, so that we are not also accused that we are delaying to finalize investigations as an institution. So that's why she was employed. But it's also very disappointing that she'll now raise issues about NDZ, that she said we need to investigate. And there was no way where that was raised, but it's very clear that she must know that we don't have jurisdiction over NDZ, because she was a member of parliament, and Members Executive Ethics Act applies to the executive.
Yes.
And that's why we investigated that particular matter. So I think the issues which she's raising about the CEO and the Nkwinti matter, CEO is not involved in the investigations.
Yes.
And CEO was interviewed in the Nkwinti matter before even joining the institution. He was one of the witnesses in our investigations, because it was revolving around him, the complaint which was lodged, and that farm that the two officials or the two people who were accused of benefiting from that farms were introduced by the minister to the CEO, being the DDG, and he said, make sure that you help these people. So CEO had to then facilitate that. I mean, stories which of Deloitte and Twitch, that report was damning against the minister, and we can't just take the report as is, put it in the report, in the report of the Protector. That's not how we work. We cannot even take your media article.
Yes.
But what we need to do, we need to go to the source and verify the information. That's why we had to interview some of the people from Deloitte, clarify the information, what happened, instead of taking that. And it's not true that the CEO was involved in the investigation. So I think the matter is of interest, because the allegations she's making, they are very wrong, and that sharing the very personal communication between me and her, because I mean the investigation of Rogue Unit, I think you all know that I had to do YouTubes at some stage, because I was saying, you send something confidentially to the, especially Minister Kodan, you are investigating, but at the end of the day you find that the legal team will be all over the news, being interviewed, or even the spokesperson being interviewed and dealing with the matters under investigation, threatening the credibility of the investigation.
Yes.
Hence I said to her, I'm reducing the team, and so that those, and when I was saying the camp, I was referring to the very same people which is Bomalaji, the attorneys, the spokesperson, like, hey, that, I mean, they will still now go ahead and run up with the information. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Now when she accuses me of playing in the political, it's not something which is, you need to be very strategic how you deal with this. Unfortunately, in South Africa now, we're in a era where sometimes there's those courts of public opinion, yes, because then people are playing into that space, and that's what happened when we were it was a very difficult investigation, I must say, the one we did. But now you come back being a CEO of the very credible institution, and you come and make such baseless accusations. And it's even worse, because I mentioned in the statement that there was a stage where, when I realized, because I had information that she was at a funeral and she was discussing very sensitive investigations. So I had to say to CEO, please deal with her. She must stop doing that. Therefore, if you have people like that, then you limit the number of people. And again, the Bosasa investigation was a very sensitive one. I was protecting the president and the statements which we were having. If you have so many people and you know that sometimes, because as a leader, you'll have to be very careful and sensitive, and the kind of work we are doing. Hence, I'm saying in this institution, actually, we should be having, that's why we need even people who are vetted, people who are credible, so that when we deal with any person, we respect the privacy of that person. So hence, she was removed, and I had to deal with the investigator directly. And the allegations is making that we were using some external people. There's nothing like that. I mean, the investigator is there, a very senior investigator who has more than 20 years experience in the institution, is the one who was investigating. So I think I'm just trying to say to South Africans, it's a concern to have people like this in the institution, which is so credible. And again, it's a concern that you will find somebody like this. You think the person will be coming in to help you protect the public, but the person is coming in now to, it's like betrayal, or even like a spy, inside, and checking whatever you're doing just to destroy the credibility of this institution. For the information of South Africans, the investigators, they investigate, they send information through her. Certain investigations, because in terms of the act, I can delegate. I can work directly with the investigator. There's nothing stopping me, or there are no rules binding me that everything must via every person. So certain investigations, because of the sensitivity and because of protecting and again avoiding these leakages. So you can see that people like her are the people who have been possibly leaking information.
Yes.
And that's what happened. The institution, which I would say people must still not worry about that, because the investigators, a lot of them, I mean, there's one who's here for the past 27 years.
Yes.
And the one who investigated Bosasa has been here even along those lines, because he worked in the Putatswana Ombudsman office before 1994. So there are people who are here in this institution who love this institution, and they are telling themselves that I'm here to serve. And South Africans should just find solace in them, that their work is done by those kind of people. And when it comes to me, and check that everything is done properly according to the law, and it's according to our mandate. So for them, they shouldn't worry about whoever then is going to the media and have those sensational allegations or playing that narrative. We will make sure that they are protected. Nothing will happen to their protection. Well, when we were in Tembis, I think there was a follow-up when they said, okay, we saw it, and well, they wanted to know what is it all about.
Okay.
Then I said, because it was the chief of staff of the president, I said to my chief of staff, make sure you respond on email, and I saw that email and copy me.
Okay.
And we were explaining, I was explaining that, as a Chapter 9 institution, a constitutional institution, as the president being a constitutional being, there's that narrative again. You remember I said it's perpetuated by the media. And they have this thing of saying the president and the public protector are fighting. So I just wanted us to sit down and, correct and make sure that we don't have that narrative going on, because it's not good for the country. And worse as well, I wanted to say, I mean, the attorneys possibly are there, they would want to make money and whatever, or litigate, use their strategy of litigating through the media, which is wrong also, because they also have a certain code of good conduct they need to adhere to.
Yeah.
Now, if you are an attorney and you are busy writing such things, and you are also compromising the very same president, and that office is sacrosanct, and that office should maintain that standing. So unfortunately, the meeting has not yet taken place, but I've seen now at least that has died down, and I hope it will continue like that. And if we deal with matters in court, let's argue them in court. Let's not try to use the media for such things, which sometimes is not helping.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.